Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, amid the Omicron surge, Whitley County school officials are looking at changing bus routes, but it might come with some consequences. And are we out of the woods after Omicron? We hear from a top vaccine expert and White House medical officials about the future of the pandemic.
Cold air continues for tonight, but we have some changes on the way for tomorrow, and even more changes after that. I'll break it all down on the way at 5:30.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A Southern Kentucky school district says they have plans to address what they believe will be a future bus driver shortage. That plan will have some drivers taking on double shifts in the morning, and some kids will get to school late. But as WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains, school leaders say the plan is all about making sure kids are in school even if they are late.
I have 11 grandkids.
And most of them are in the Whitley County school system.
I'd rather them be late than not get to go to school. I agree with that.
I think we have 8 drivers that have agreed to do these double routes.
John Seiler says school transportation leaders came up with the double route plan for if and when a lot of drivers call in sick, and there's not enough subs to fill them.
Well, again, last year, virtual was a tough year for our students, for our parents, finding daycare or childcare, and for our teachers.
Some kids could get to school up to an hour late after drivers start their second shifts.
Yeah, right now, we have covered every route this year. We have not had to use this plan.
But that could change if enough drivers call in sick, with COVID's winter peak still coming.
You know, it does create problems, but life creates problems. And, you know, we have to find ways to fix them instead of excuses.
You know, a child getting to school at 8:30 or possibly even 8:40 is better than missing a whole day of instruction.
Seiler says the community wants to do what they can to keep kids in school. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Seiler stresses that parents need to contact the board office with any phone number changes so they can be called if a bus is going to be late. A Kentucky woman included false information in applications for more than $200,000 in coronavirus aid. The Lexington Herald-Leader reports Mandy Ellen Bauer of Greene County faces 9 charges of wire fraud. The report claims that Bauer filed applications between April and July of 2020 that shared false information about employees and finances of her company. Wire fraud is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. The surge of the Omicron COVID-19 variant is plateauing or subsiding in many parts of the country, and some health officials are optimistic this wave will soon be behind us. Washington News Bureau reporter Peter Zampa is hearing from top health experts about the future of this pandemic.
Throughout this pandemic, Mother Nature has not been coy with us. She tells us exactly what she's going to do.
The pandemic will not just go away after the Omicron variant wanes, according to Dr. Peter Hotez. The Baylor University College of Medicine vaccine scientist expects the troubling pattern of new variants to continue in 2022.
Because we're failing to vaccinate the Southern Hemisphere and low and middle income countries, that's where it's going to happen again.
Hotez is on the front lines of the COVID-19 war, helping to develop a vaccine called Corbavax that he says can easily be distributed globally. He says Omicron infections build some immunity, but in general, unvaccinated populations remain vulnerable with new variants expected. Hotez is hoping for swift approval of his vaccine from the World Health Organization and broader distribution of other vaccines.
We know how to stop this.
Well, Omicron exposed a testing shortage here in the U.S. and brought a record number of cases. But Dr. Anthony Fauci tells me he expects us to be better prepared for any future variants.
There will certainly be major improvements, and hopefully it will not have a negative impact on us the way Omicron has.
Dr. Fauci notes complete eradication of COVID is unlikely, but he and Surgeon General Vivek Murthy agree vaccines, boosters, and more widely available therapeutics are essential in the continued battle against the coronavirus.
You don't rest until the job is done. You don't stop learning. You don't stop trying to get better.
Over 63% of Americans are fully vaccinated. In contrast, only 9.5% of people in low-income countries have received one vaccine dose. Reporting in Washington, I'm Peter Zampa.
Healthcare workers in about half of the nation face a deadline of tomorrow to get their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
It has been another chilly day around the mountains today. Plenty, though, of sunshine. And that's at least helped a little bit, right? You look out the window, you say, oh, it's a beautiful day. And then you step outside and you have to run back inside and get the heavy coat because it is chilly out there. US 119 camera at Pine Mountain sitting right now at 24. It's chilly out there, but the roads are in good shape and it's rather dry outside. I-75 at London, as our pretty nice sunset is in progress there. Still a beautiful scene. Downtown Whitesburg, we showed it to you earlier. We'll show it to you again. Right at freezing right now. All is quiet in downtown. Upper 20s and low 30s around the region. Parts of the Cumberland Valley, by the way, got into the mid 30s earlier on today, falling now down into those lower 30s and even upper 20s. And we've got a little bit further to fall before the night is over. Clean sweep on Pinpoint Doppler. So go ahead and download that WYMT weather app, because not only will you get our latest forecast, latest radar imagery, and the latest alerts if and when they're issued for your area. It'll also give us, of course, our latest forecast, which has temperatures in the teens overnight, and then some changes on the way for tomorrow. Then we'll change the changes back as we head into the day on Friday. I'll explain coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Auto repair shops across the Commonwealth are busy after multiple winter storms. Shop owners believe that if the winter continues to be as active as it has been, shops are likely to see some backups in clients. And not only are car shop owners seeing an increase in cars, but they're also seeing a decrease in parts because of supply chain issues.
Things that would usually get in a day or two are taking 3 or 4 days, and sometimes even longer, just depending on where it's coming from.
Now remember, you can stay up to date on the forecast from wherever you are. Just download the WYMT weather app for free in your phone's app store. A former city official in Bardstown is charged with embezzling nearly $800,000 from the town. Tracy L. Hudson was indicted by a federal grand jury in Louisville last week. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Hudson embezzled the money between 2013 and 2019. That's when she was working as the city's tax administrator and later its chief financial officer. She was fired in 2019. Federal prosecutors say Hudson took cash from city funds, paid herself for fake expenses, used city credit cards, and diverted extra money into her 401k retirement plan. She is charged with wire fraud. A Kentucky doctor pleaded guilty yesterday to a federal tax evasion charge. 49-year-old Christopher Merrick admitted he avoided more than $280,000 in taxes. All of this was due to him failing to report to the IRS about his nearly $900,000 income. Court records show there is no evidence that Merrick's actions ever negatively impacted his ability to treat patients. The search is underway for a veteran service dog in Frankfort. Frankfort police are asking for your help finding Dorcas the Boxer. She helps his owner with PTSD. She was lost Tuesday after its owner's truck broke down on the interstate near the Frankfort exit, and he walked to go find help. If you think you've spotted the dog or have any tips on where it might be, you should call the Frankfort Police Department. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell visited Campbellsville, Hopkinsville, and Bowling Green today. The senator surveyed the still massive cleanup after last month's devastating tornadoes ripped across the Commonwealth. State and federal funds have been helping the cause, but more is needed as the road to recovery is still very long.
But I think FEMA's been very responsive, and the state agency as well. But this is going to take a while, and we have to keep an eye on staying there for the long haul, because this recovery doesn't happen instantly.
After looking at the damage in Taylor County, Senator McConnell went on to visit the Bowling Green area. There is major news today from the U.S. Supreme Court, where one of the longest-serving members is expected to retire. Justice Stephen Breyer, the oldest member of the Supreme Court, will retire at the end of the court's current term. At 83 years old, the liberal justice has been under pressure to step down to give President Biden his first opportunity to pick a successor. The president says the timing was left to Breyer to decide.
Every justice has the right and opportunity to decide what he or she is going to do and announce it on their own. There has been no announcement from Justice Breyer. Let him make whatever statement he's going to make, and I'll be happy to talk about it later.
Appointed by President Bill Clinton in 1994, Breyer is the second longest serving of the current justices, just behind Clarence Thomas, who joined in 1991. Dolly Parton certainly is not slowing down. The singer is pretty much everywhere these days.
Oh boy, I have always loved to cook, and I am so happy to share some of my Southern favorites with you.
And now Dolly's launching a line of cake mixes with Duncan Hines. They're called Dolly's Southern Favorites. The available flavors include coconut and banana flavored cake mixes with creamy or chocolate buttercream frosting. Some of Dolly's favorite recipes for the mixes come printed on the back of the box. The collaboration comes days after Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream announced it is bringing back the country singer's signature ice cream flavor, strawberry pretzel pie. And just in case you're wondering exactly why Dolly is so much out there these days, well, it's because she's got a new album to promote. Like the cake mixes, it comes out in March. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the Fed announces plans to raise interest rates soon to get a handle on inflation. We'll have more on the possible economic fallout.
After the Dolly story, somebody please check on Dakota Makris. In any case, it's another temperature roller coaster for the last couple of days this week. I'll have the latest on when above average temperatures return and turn back into snow straight ahead.